Hey everybody, let's begin. So the plan today is to continue the painting of the grass on the terrain. And the grass we're gonna paint is going to be the procedural grass shader. But just before I begin, I just have to say that it's probably going to be a shorter stream today as well, and probably also tomorrow, because first of all I have some other stuff I need to take care of, but I'm also not feeling 100% correct, you know. Got a little bit some small sickness going on, but I'm gonna do my best, so let's just jump into it. And if I remember correctly, yesterday we defined this enum, Terraform brush mode. Right now we define the different states as height change and grass change. Cooler SK drinks lots of tea. Hell yeah, we'll be doing that. Thank you. And then we have some Terraform brush methods to it. Just some functional methods for getting a color channel from brush mode, getting the next or previous brush mode, and a two-string method, which will eventually add some more logic. Devioli, what's up? Finally could catch your stream again. I appreciate it, even if it's just for a short moment. I'm pretty good. I have some sickness going on, but other than that, nothing to complain about. How about you? So with this one defined, we can go to Terraform brush, and this class doesn't really need to change that much. Most of the logic here actually comes from these. So the properties we send to the shader controls a lot. For instance, let's see if I can find it. This one here defines if we add or subtract from the final image, and this one here tells which channel we do it from or to, which means basically that if we want to add height, we set blend operation to add, and we set channel to red, and then we blit, and then we have a new height map with added height. I'm very much in love with this solution, to be honest. So Terraform together with Action Terraform will solve this. Well, I'm in a bit of a struggle right now. The payment is bad, but everything else fits perfectly. Oh yeah, that is a hard position to be in. I mean, like, every person has a different outlook on these kind of things. Honestly, like, I have like how one person ranks different things, and like money is always going to be ranked quite high for most of the people. But something that's even more or higher ranked, I would say, is time. Like, you gotta enjoy living. That's it. Well, I can't really do anything but wish you good luck and hope you can make a decision, and I'm pretty sure it will hopefully be fine either way. They pay me like an employee but work like a contractor. Nice. I would say, like, if one ranks freedom and time high, but also, like, when you started off your sentence with, well, I'm in a bit of a struggle right now, I was anticipating something much worse. This, when you think about it, this is kind of a good problem to have, right? Or one of the better problems to have. Yeah. So basically, what it all comes down to, or the whole terraforming implementation comes pretty much down to these two lines. We prep each of these perfectly in the chain, and then we just apply Terraform brush split. So now when I think about it, I think we implemented pretty good in the end here. Like yesterday, I mean, I think we left it at a good state, and I think we should be able to try what we have. There exists one more thing we need to do, however. Change brush mode. Change sign. Okay, so we set this one correctly. This one here, so we can try it. We just need to reset our underlying data. Nice progress, Ayland. Great job. And what's up, I'm me. Good evening, I guess. Another day, another terrain. Another day, the same terrain, I would say. And Cartoons TV, good morning, good morning. So we can actually test this one. But to be able to test it, we need to instantiate the data as, I think we're going to instantiate it as 0, honestly. Generate terrain data. I wonder if we can set this one to 0. Actually, I think the most straightforward way to do it is just to do okay, so now we generate data with 0 in all of the channels, and we should be able to mark an area and add to the green color, and then we should use the green color to do something. We're gonna check it onto that one as well. I bought an LG 77 G4 OLED. Jesus, I need to check that shit out. Yeah, I can imagine that being insane. So what are you gonna watch on that bad boy? Me. Or play. Ayland, I would not recommend adding the command manually. Use the command attribute instead and running the command manual initialize method. I really don't know the difference between those two. But if the creator tells you, it's gotta be so. So if we jump to the shader as well, see if we actually read this one. Terrain procedural grass. Here we have terrain data texture. Do we use it? We use it here to color the ground. We actually have it uncommented. Oh yeah. Okay, so this was the problem we left off at. Everything full compatibility. Yeah, I just did a quick Google on the television, and yeah, that's one hell of a television or TV. I recommend watching The Wire. Good morning, Harukanan. So, the problem we were having is this. We don't have UVs in this shader, but we actually do send in UVs, so we might as well. Why not? Make it work and then remove. Then I guess we need to do text core 2. And now it's just about sending this onward and onward and onward. So for the vertex shader, we just want to set output UV is equal to input UV. For the hull shader, we also want to do that, but we do it by patch id.uv. We don't need to do anything here, and in the domain shader we need to interpolate the UVs using barycentric coordinates, just like we have here. And finally, in the geometry shader, we're probably going to use the UVs as well. So I would say barocentric coordinates first of all. Did I say float 2 up here? Nice. And then when we send it onwards to the fragment shader, we're probably going to do that in either this one or this one. This is where we construct geometry shader output. And we're probably going to use the UVs to do some calculations in here later on as well. Let's put it here for now. So now we have UVs going through the full, I don't know, pipeline. And finally, they end up in the fragment shader. And here we're going to use them to read the data. Currently, I think, yeah, terrain data. We're going to use this one here, terrain data G, and that should be it. So right now terrain data G will only color the ground color, I think. The grass is probably going to be colored as well, but sort of in a semi-weird way, I think. Because each grass straw has its own UVs ranging from 00 to 11. Not really related to world position or object position or anything like that. Although, one sec. Right now we just send it onwards. So when we generate the grass, I think we use, so whatever UV position the grass straw is at, that's the UV for the full grass straw. Guess that's an okay way to do it. Have I missed doing something? Don't think so. I want to check one last thing. So this one is going to be 0 for non-grass. Is that different from what we did before? And 1 for grass. So input color RGB. So if this is 1, then we want grass. If it's 0, we want the ground color. And then we need to change this one as well, because yeah, this one is 1 if it's grass, 0 otherwise, I think. Let's run it to see what we have. Not exactly what I anticipated. Yeah, it would be nice to visually represent what kind of terraforming mode we're in as well. But that's not my biggest concern right now. Okay. Do we set this one? Probably not. We'll double check that. So let's do this. Environment, procedural grass, terrain material. I'm me. Oh, that's nice. Thank you. Have you done anything like making the grass patchy? Should be a fairly easy kind of thing. Yeah, that's what we're in the process of doing. Like, our procedural grass shader reads from a texture. It reads properties from a texture, like how tall the grass should be, how wide it should be, how bent it should be, and we're going to alter that a little bit. And previously we generated that texture by Perly Noise. Now we're going to make the player be able to paint that texture, and then we're going to figure out how to pack that data into less bits. What's up, Norin Dev? How are you, mate? I'm okay. I'm a little bit sick, but I'm grinding on. How about you? Alon 13, do you want to know why I made my own suggestion system? Yes, I do. And I wonder how, like, your suggestion system, like, what kind of tech are you using behind it? Yeah, maybe we had, let me see, if we hide, let's just show this one. So this one has a ground component. The only thing the ground component does basically is generate a set of textures. And here we have a grass proportion texture generator. And while we were developing the grass shader, I think we did it so that red channel describes grass length, green channel describes grass width, and blue channel describes bend. And then we had the alpha channel, which I think was to be used for density. So we pretty much have, like, width, height. Yeah, it all comes down to how we can, in a nice way, pack this into like right now it takes up 32 bits, and that's way too much. Like, what I think I will eventually be able to give grass variation is 8 bits. So we're either gonna have to throw away some stuff, or come up with a smart way to pack it. Like one could maybe think of using like a lookup table solution. If the texture is done rarely, pack it into a compressed format. Yeah, so the idea is that the player will be able to, whenever he or she wants, he or she will be able to like change how the grass looks. So over here we have a dirt area of dirt, so the player can run up to that place and sow some grass, either short grass or tall grass or whatnot. So yeah, we have these days we have a pretty good word, if you ask me, to when you don't know the gender of the person. We have a pretty good word for including all of the different variations. I don't know what the English word for it would be, but yeah, person maybe. But yeah, so when we developed this procedural grass shader, we played around with some values and we went crazy with the amount of allocated data for it. So yeah, in some way we're gonna have to fix it. Like if we only had 2 float values that decides the grass, we could pack 2 of them into 8 bits, lose some precision, but that's okay. But I think we're gonna need more than that. The word is imbecile. So like if the texture can be done on the spot, compress it. Yeah, we're probably gonna rely on some compression as well, I think. But as I said, like we're gonna need to compress it multiple times. Like every time a change is made to either height is changed or grass properties are changed, then we need to recompress it. But like what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna let like a second thread do the heavy lifting here. So every time we change the terrain, we're actually gonna offload it to some other thread. So we can afford to let it take some time, but I would definitely not want more than like 1 second. Nor in Dev, you make this grass in a shader. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Exactly. But let's see here what we have done. Environment. Environment uses procedural grass terrain material. That's good. And do we have... Don't we set the... Oh yeah, we made some changes. So let's see here. We have a default texture up top. Oh yeah, procedural grass terrain material. We want to change this one to terrain procedural grass. And then we have a texture up here, and let's just go with prototype. This one, it's going to be hella... we can fix the tiling and offset. So now we have that texture. The question is terrain patch. We have set material here. In here we set terrain data texture UV scale. We set a few things that we don't use anymore, but that should be okay. Nor in Dev, how is the performance? I would say it's acceptable, but we still have a pretty nice list of optimization things we can do, and also things to, like, some of those optimizations does reduce the visuals of the grass, but we also have like a list to combat some of those. I just, like last time I tried to implement one sort of complex thing, like I think I sat with it like for 10 hours or something like that, and I still couldn't get it right. So I just need to, one day when I feel extremely confident, then I might give it a second go. And here we want to do set texture. Terrain data texture, that is what we named it, right? Or I. Terrain data texture. Ooh, we actually use this one. Set texture terrain data. And we set it here, and we set it here. Great. Okay, so we set it. One more thing I wanted to do is I want to be able to show the Terraform brush mode visually, so like in text format just. So we're gonna add it to the description here. We have base description, Terraform brush strength, texture index. We're gonna do Terraform brush mode. Let's do can we do public and then we can just add it here, Terraform brush dot mode description. Yeah, that's right. Let's see, Aland. Because there are no suggestion system I found online, not do I want to. So, okay, no suggestion system does what you want it to do. Hinter, but it does not work with the arrow key and can accept the suggestion with the tab key. Oh well. Okay. Yes, so what do we have here? I think we have roughly what we want. And then we have Terraform 1. So what if I click? It doesn't really. Terraform brush mode description. Terraform and grass. Okay, we have a problem here. Yo, what's up, Yitspo? Thank you so much for the raid, appreciate it. Hope you had a wonderful stream. And welcome to all the new viewers. We're currently fighting. We're trying to implement so that the player can paint our terrain with our custom grass shader. It's a little bit of a mess, but I think we're getting there. Well, I found some bugs. Yeah, that's usually how it goes, at least for me. What is the name, Jitspo, of the game you're working on? I usually drop by before I stream sometimes, if you're streaming. It's like Conk or something like that, right? Doom/Quake-like old school FPS, right? Kook. I don't know if my pronunciation is correct. But yeah, on the plus side they weren't in my code, on the minus side they weren't in my code, exactly. Yeah, it's always that feeling when you find out that the bug is not in your code. You feel this. You feel a little bit relieved. You didn't make the mistake, but then you get this like panic feeling. How am I supposed to change this or fix this, or am I allowed to? Can I? Etc. Okay, so let's see here. This one doesn't really seem to change. I wonder why. We have changed sign here. We set the material, and then we also had a problem with the procedural grass shader, where the color was not entirely correct. So it's almost like this one is 0.5 instead of 0, I would say. So let me just show you the state of things. If it's open source, you can fix the bug yourself by contributing. Yeah, but like depending on the library size, contributing usually comes with a lot of rules and a lot of style guides, and sometimes it's a lot of work. Oops. So the ground definitely has the correct texture. Is that how I want it? Yeah, it is. But we still can't change. Whatever we do, we still have terraform, which is unfortunate. So if we go up, yeah, we have a problem with the brush not getting changed. I'm gonna change this one back. I'm pretty sure input color A is 1 for grass straws, 0 for ground. So this one doesn't really do anything for the ground. Am I okay with that? Okay, so the problem seems to be this one being 0.5, so we don't initialize it correctly. I hear you, Ayland. Yeah, that is nice indeed. So actually, we can try this one out. If we get the brush to work, we can just double check this one by painting. So the problem is action terraform, scalar quaternary event. We get this log, so we should be getting this invoke as well. So then we call Terraform brush change brush mode. We do mode change sign. Yeah, I might know what it is. We implement this in the wrong way, because what you need to do is mode change sign. Is that how we would want to do it? Elon, by the way, my console utility is also under MIT license, so people can't just steal my code. Depends on the definition of steal, I guess. But MIT is a pretty good license, I would say. I think that's both my outline shader and cell shader has that license. Okay, now we should be able to change the grass part of the texture via the character, and now we can check why we're actually getting this bluish color, I thought. Terrain procedural grass. Okay. So if we do, there we go. And we have none as well. But okay, if we go to terraform with this strength, yeah, then we terraform like that. Okay, beautiful. So what if we go to grass and we do E? Let's go with a strength of 1 as well. -1. Yeah, it doesn't really change anything currently. But then again, I'm not sure. Let's do this. Terrain data G. Let's sample this texture up in the geometry shader as well. And let's do terrain data, but now we're doing this in the geometry shader, so we need to use LOD, and we're going to use 0 here. So this terrain data, the green channel, tells us like how much grass should we have. And for now, I'm just going to take random rotation, random width, or random width, height, and bend. And we're gonna do terrain data.g multiplied by this one. So 1 for full grass, 0 for no grass. We basically just nullify width, height and bend if this one is 0. And then we also do with proportion multiplier. So the idea is that this one is going to replace this texture eventually in some way. That is going to be one hell of a problem to solve, I think. Yeah, let's see if this works. Yeah, here we're just gonna go with UV. It definitely affects the width. I wonder if we get a texture of 0.5 value. It's pretty weird, honestly. This one. So 0.5. Is this a result someone would get with 0.5? What I'm afraid of is that the texture gets generated with default values. Instead of 0, it gets 0.5. So if we would do Cpot4, thank you for the follow, appreciate it. Yeah, that's the exact same result we get, right? 1.0 gives us this one. The coloring is still sort of fucked. My console utility library is not documented yet because it's not public yet. Once I plan to make it public, I may document it. Yeah, probably want to. So why are we getting this weird coloring? UV color. The only thing that can control it is this one. We're getting more color from this texture than this one, I suppose. Here we sample ground color from texture. Terrain data, okay, so let's say that this one is 0.5, yeah. Okay, that's why. Okay, so something is wrong with the texture. We don't get the texture we want. Let's try and figure out why that is. Terrain data texture. We have it here. It's white from the start, actually. Terrain patch. We set it here. Terrain data. Could it be? I want to double check this, but this one seems to be named correctly. If terrain data is not equal to null. Okay. Terrain base. We set material and then we generate terrain data. Shouldn't really be a problem. So when we have generated terrain data, we set this texture again. So my question then is, when we generate terrain data, we do it with this one, and we use a Perlin noise texture generator. Yeah, I might know. So what I did here, just to be able to test this real quick, is to set the Perlin noise value to 0. The Unity mathematics library, this one returns a value between -1 and 1. Here we changed it from 0 to 1. So that means that we changed this one from -1 and 1 to 0 and 1, which means that we get a 0.5 value. So I want to get a -1 value here as our default texture, which should give us just a plane with no grass whatsoever. And we should be able to, yeah, one more sec. So let's go through the full chain of events. Action terraform. So when we call terraforming, we do this in terrain patch terraformer. We send in the brush, and then we do apply terraform brush blit. If it's within bounds, set brush error margin, set brush boundary, alter terrain height using terraform data blit. Yeah, it's very general. Alter terrain data blit. We blit material, and then we read back the pixels. And then we apply the data. Beautiful. I think this one should update the texture on the GPU side, so we shouldn't need to do anything else. A little bit worried though. And now I'm starting to wonder if Terraform shader, brush color right mask, brush color right mask. That one is correct. wonder if it's this one we want to do. I think so. Color right mask green. Okay, this is interesting. So we do change the color. The color channel we write to gets changed accordingly. That's good. But for some reason it doesn't get correctly changed. So now we alter the red channel. Now we alter, now we alter the green channel, or we should be. But we're not getting a change here. Why is that? Yes. It should be okay. Should be okay. I just want to double check Unity set from script. It's weird that it works with red though. I wonder if could it be so bad that we also need to do. I really hope the relinking isn't the problem. That would suck, I think. So train data. Let's just try it. So terrain patch, alter terrain height using Terraform data blit, and then we do this. Nah, like I would be. I would be surprised if this is the case, but I still want to test it. Because we already link it. Okay, good. That's not the issue. Okay, that's good to know. I mean, I want to see that patch of grass so bad. Yeah, me too, me too. Terrain. Am I gonna have to do? Can we do and check it in real time? Would be nice. I don't really see it being anything other than the brush. The setting of this one. But we do know that we changed to the correct one, and we set it here. Is it not supposed to be an int? Could that possibly be it? But what would red be? What about animated colored text, Eland? That would be pretty fabulous. So I want to check integer 0 through 7. Would have loved. Yeah, we already know this. Do we have HLSL color mask? And I already checked. We have color mask. My persistent stuff, sharing it isn't so easy right now. My current game, quote unquote game, uses some paid for assets like Odin, so I have to split the basics out into a generic project to demonstrate usage. Okay, so I guess like the persistency stuff uses Odin as well, or... But yeah, that could be a problem. Where do we have... But like, do I want this as integer or... Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's integer. So why aren't we writing to the green channel? Key features are persistence of objects in scenes with scene transitions. Nice. Are you talking about adding Chat 4.0 to your console command manager, or are you gonna prompt it for ideas, Eland? But the bottom line is, like, yeah, sure, red can be the 0 index here, but this one works for height change. It's just that it doesn't work for grass density change. So I want to check oh yeah, Chat GPT. I missed the GPT. Jake Oxide, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. Let's see if we get. Do we have a debug? Terrain patch. Debug. Oh, my terrain data isn't serializable, is it? What speaks against it being a problem of is that we can change to grass and then back again, and it still works for height. Yeah, we're gonna have to render this. What is the best way to show our render texture? Let's do I'm gonna have to change so many things. Would have hoped I still want to try this. Terrain data. Yeah, we have a render texture here, but can we do... Are we actually able to set it? That would rock. And where do we have render texture? We have it here. Test. What do we have? Just want to make sure it's the same. 128. Okay, so that's the 1028 divided by a subdivision of 2 to the power 4, 16. Is that actually what we end up with? This one should be 1080, right? Or 512 1024. That's what we should have. Okay, I'm just glad that my terrain worked either way. So 64 times 64. I'm gonna get an error now. Let's do test. 64 times 64. RGB AU norm. Yeah, let's try it. Terrain data, data as render texture. Test. It's extremely small, but that's okay. But we don't get a instant change. Yeah, we do. Beautiful. So now if I change to green and we paint a bit there. Yeah, we don't get a change to the green channel here. For some goddamn reason. So, I want to do this. Terraform brush mode. RGB. If we do green, what I'm a little bit worried about, honestly, is, but I don't know, is this right here? Like, how does it work? Like, this one should only define the one we want to write, not to read from. So here we read the red channel. Will this be a problem? I don't think it should. Ayland, I think I'm basically done with my library. Just need to document it. Congratulations and good luck with the documentation. Have you used GitHub Copilot before? So green channel, let's do Danny Bonk, what's up? Will it be multiplayer? No. Okay, now we're getting weird result here. Yeah, so it only seems to be working with red and not with green or blue. And that's something I need to look into. Height change. We get that height change here. If we change to grass, we don't get any painting. If we change to unused, which is blue channel, we don't get that either. Okay, so that is the problem. That's good. Why doesn't it? Could it be? I want to try changing this one to G. We can continue. Nope. So basically the problem we have here is that color mask, if we send in color right mask red, it works. If we send in color right mask green or blue, it does not. Default is all. So let's try that one as well. That doesn't work either. It still only rewrites to the red channel. What am I missing? Could it be Terraform shader? Actually, Terraform default material, brush color right mask 15. Okay, that's everything. 8 is Terraform, 4 is grass, and it just returns 2. Okay, this is good to know. Let's see. Normal. Eight, we get red. 4, we get nothing. Tap, 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 indeed. I think there's some dudes or girls right under me right now doing some remodeling. Like literally right under. Brush color right mask, so we have 8 for red, 4 for green, and 2 for blue. Why won't it work? if I were to do B here, isn't that how you would want to do it? Color mask Unity. Color mask RGB. Color mask G. Still doesn't return anything here. Color mask R. Okay, have I mistakenly... Color mask R works, color mask G doesn't work. Why not? RGB works, but only for red. What the fuck? Blend 1, blend operation, brush operation, color mask G. It's not this one. Yo, what's up, Little Miss Murder? I hear you. I hear you. What kind of problem do we have? A color mask in my case doesn't seem to work. Color mask HLSL not working. We're trying to make the Terraform shader write to the green channel or the blue channel, just any channel other than the red. Color mask, color mask. Do we want to do it as a float 4? Is that actually what we want to do? Maybe. Or no. Yeah, let's see if he saves mine again. So let's define this one as this instead. So now we should be able to do green, so red, alpha, blue, green, red, all. Let's do all. Blue doesn't work, green doesn't work, red works. All works, but only with the red channel. So we might... I don't want to work with it like this, however. Is that a problem? And Norindev is your neighbor hammering enthusiast. Yeah, it seems that way these past couple of days. I just think we're getting new neighbors down there. Yeah, color mask doesn't seem to want to do its job in this case. Do I have some other constraint on this shader? Is it that this one is a float, that it always just writes to the first one? Is that actually it? I thought this was how... yeah, it's probably it. So this is pretty much just a mask, so... guess we want to do... brush color right mask. Multiplied by this one. So this is a float 4. 0 for the wrong. So 0 for the channels we don't want to write to, and 1 for the channels we want to write to. Making, even though we're returning a float 4, yeah, this one will only output to this. Either way, yeah. Red, all. Okay, now we don't even get anything for all. That's weird. That's not how I want to use it. But color mask, if color mask is equal to 1, 2, 4, 8. Okay, beautiful. There we go. So we still want to return a float 4, but given this command, the shader will only write to one channel, and it will write this value to that channel. Or it will write this value using blend 1 and blend operation to the channel defined here. Okay, that's good. So if we jump back to the game, we have Terraform all colors, Terraform is red channel, Terraform grass is green, and unused is blue. Beautiful. Good morning, Geralt. So yeah, let's try it. If we paint Terraform here, we terraform it like that, and if we do Terraform grass and paint it here, we get not exactly, but almost. A step in the right direction, to say the least. So terrain procedural grass, terrain data texture. We read it here. Is it because of this one? Okay. And if we change the brush to this one, oh, then we get this. Almost. Mm-hmm. Grass proportion texture. Where do we have that one? Grass proportion texture. Let's copy this one and jump to terrain patch. Yeah, we never feed. We never feed this one into the shader in question. And so doing this is probably correct. Yeah, we can skip this. I wonder now why. Oh, we have a wind texture as well, but the wind texture is 1111, I guess. Yeah, we need to feed that as well. Because we're getting a, so if we do instantiate wind properties, yeah, frozen hurricane grass indeed. So let's just feed the wind texture into the shader and see what happens. And we definitely want to fix this. Like, we have smaller grass here, but it should still be colored correctly. Yeah, great progress. So let's see here. Currently the solution is to have, or currently the solution depends on a environment controller. Yeah, slowly but surely getting there. And then we have set weather reference. And this one actually set material texture. Aland, yeah, that would be an option if you trust ChatGPT 4.0 that much, but it would probably do a pretty good job, I think. texture shader property name. Yeah, it pretty much looks like we're setting this the correct way. Environment. Terrain base. Oh, we actually have this one here. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay, I get it. So terrain base, we actually set multiple materials here. We do set proportions texture as well, but it doesn't seem to be updating accordingly. But that one is uncommented out right now, so we can skip that one for 1 sec. But we have this one, weather, wind texture generator. We should actually have a weather set up here. I wonder if... let's try it. Although... although something is definitely wrong with the... Let's take this one. Cool. And if we do... okay, wind strength seems to be static. $6K 911. What's up? What's up? Okay, this is weird. Why we're not getting this wind texture? Environment wind texture. Is that what we call it in the shader? Yeah, wind texture, here we have it. And we read from it correctly. Whoa. Yeah, we have time X here. Did you make / write all this? Yes, I did. How, like, could the introduction of terrain data here screw this up in this way? We just multiply the value here with random width, random height, and random bend. Ooh. Yes. probably want to do it here, honestly. Although, random pen, do I care about that? Thank you, I'm me, by the way. Makes me happy to hear. Okay, so that should fix that. I wonder if we can use this one once again. If we have this. No, we can't. This is one of those issues that is going to suck to solve. Okay, Little Miss Murder. Yeah, we're gonna see what we can do about this. Okay, so if you jump back to this solution, then we get this. Okay. And if we take this back, then we get this. Okay, proportion multiplier. This one is definitely fucked. I wonder if the wind texture is screwed up as well. Yeah, it is. Okay, so now to the reason. Why is proportion and the wind texture screwed up? That I have to figure out. We're also getting... Oh, yeah. Okay, so the problem is the communication from the environment. So environment has weather, which generates a wind texture. And it should generate it. Let's see here. Environment controller, vertex shade goes. Indeed. I couldn't even make the noise, but you know the noise. So we have weather here, which we set weather reference here, and in set weather reference, we call for each terrain patch we set material texture, wind texture shader property name, and wind texture. That's just it. If mesh renderer is not, if the material here is not equal to null, set the texture. Are we having a null mesh renderer here? I don't think so, because if we take a look at the environment controller, we create the terrain and then we generate it, and by generating it, we're gonna instantiate a lot of things. Although generate terrain patch generate. So here we do anything. I would Yeah, we call instantiate as well. So when we come to when we're at this when we're at this point, the terrain is fully generated. So set weather reference, set material texture, weather, wind texture, shader property name. This one could be wrong, but I don't think so. And then we get the wind texture, and wind texture generator here we get the noise texture. Ooh, this might actually be. So if noise texture is equal to null, then we instantiate it and generate it, otherwise we return a noise texture. So what I'm thinking here is actually, since this one is serializable, it's already instantiated, which means that we don't generate it. So it gets just generated with the default texture color, and that is the problem we're having. ChatGPT 3.5 give you a better answer than 4.0. Yeah, honestly, I have no idea what the difference between those are. Like, I used to be way into AI, but the actual algorithms behind it. But these days, like, it just moves too fast. Okay, so the texture is already generated when we send it in. So what we want to do is we want to be able to force generate it. And we can't really do that here, but we can do force generate texture. If it's equal to null, instantiate, otherwise generate texture. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. So force generate texture. It's a little bit of a workaround, but a dirty workaround actually. But so what we could do is terrain dot or just weather dot force generate texture, and we do weather dot instantiate, and then we feed the weather reference. And I actually want to do something similar with the proportions texture. That one is a little bit of a weirder thing though. Here we have Perlin noise texture generator. So before we feed it, we want to do this one, force generate texture, and this should hopefully be it. What's up, DevSpiers? Thank you so much for the raid, appreciate it, and hope you had a wonderful stream. Thank you once again. Welcome back, Cooler SK. Okay, this looks better. Some of the magic we do in the grass shader screws up the visuals here. Like, we're faking normals far away from the camera, because if you look at grass from far away, you just see one side of them. So we want to fake a lot of grass here. That's why the normals are changed. But let's see if we can get the grass to work now. So if I do, I hope this works. We still get static grass. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Like the further away we are from the grass, the less grass straws we render. It's not perfect yet, but we're gonna get there. First of all, I want to fix this wind problem and proportions problem. What the hell is this? I was pretty sure it was the instantiation, but now I'm not sure. No, it's pretty much, it's not the time scale. Yeah, we still don't get them into the shader for some reason. Mesh renderer. Yeah, I know. I'm tired. Jesus. There we go. At the beginning of today's stream, we nullified the noise generation to be able to test some things. I never un-nullify them. So hopefully this is the real problem. Although, like, reforce generating the textures, I still think that's a pretty good thing to do. I think. Yeah, now we get some weird properties here. Let's see. And now we get some windy grass as well. I don't know if I'm that big of a fan of the visuals of it. Yeah, it's a bit too thin, and I know why. We want to do terrain procedural grass. We do want to multiply these within, but then again, one sec, we're gonna take a look at this. Yeah, that's probably the best approach, Ayland. "10 years on and off," as in years off. Okay. So let's take a look at what's actually happening on these three lines. We calculate random width, random height, random bend. and we use it by two variables called t_random_width and t_random_height. Those two are just a random float between 0 and 1. I actually like that nickname, Little Miss Murder. I wouldn't have anything against being called that. And then we use those floats that are between 0 and 1, and we do grass width bounds x, grass width bounds y. So we use the random float to lerp between two values we have defined ourselves. And when it comes to width, like we define the maximum and minimum width of a grass straw. If a grass straw is too thin, it looks like shit. And that's what we get here because we multiply the result with terrain data g. So these bounds doesn't really mean that much since this one. So let's say that we have a minimum bound of 5 and a maximum bound of 8, which means that the width of all our grass straws are between 5 and 8. But then we multiply it with terrain data g, which is 1 for a lot of grass and 0 for no grass, which means that we pretty much move it from being between 5 and 8 to be between 0 and 8. And that's what we want to avoid, at least for width. For height, here we want like this is not the best solution to do this. Honestly, I'm gonna have to think about how we do this. 6K 911, yes, just as I'm me saying. So I'm simulcasting to both YouTube and Twitch, and it can be a little bit confusing since I'm not showing the chat on screen, but I'm working on it. Maybe can get something up and running soon. It's a lot of rules you have to follow unless you want to get banned. And yes, Little Miss Murder, don't get hung up on details. Yep. I don't even know what that stands for, Little Miss Murder, but I'm intrigued. Let's see. Oh, you're not a big fan of YouTube. Honestly, when it comes to putting the chat on screen, I think the biggest hurdle is Twitch. Like they have a lot of rules on how you can visualize the chat from other streaming platforms. But I will probably figure something out. So, just to make this work quickly, I would probably want to do something like this. For width, we want to multiply it here, but for height we want to multiply it here. Random bend, I don't really care that much about random bend. Random bend is maybe something I don't even want to... depends. I really need to do my specification of what kind of grass I want to support, how I want to support it, and so on. We might want to be able to affect bend. I don't know. Yeah. I would never, Little Miss Murder. I would never. Let's see what we get from this. Yeah, we have the color issue as well, but that's okay. Still seems kind of thin. We're not working with this one, let's add that one as well. There we go, now it looks a little bit prettier. And drawing grass shouldn't be too performance heavy. The only reason it's performance heavy right now is because we also update the vertices when we paint grass, which we don't need to do. I want to see how these patches looks from afar. Yeah, we have some popping issues, but that's okay. And yeah, we don't draw. We want to change the ground color when we draw grass as well. I can probably clean this up quite a bit. I fucking love this. And 9K, 6K, 911. You were were big Mr. Murder at Miss Murder. Oh, I guess that was a joke on the naming. The opposite. You jump over to Twitch and ask her yourself. Dude, it looks amazing. Stop fiddling. It looks... Thank you, I appreciate it. But it looks... It looks okay. The thing... Yeah, we have some coloring issue right about here, right? That's the first thing I want to fix. I'm me. Is that last question directed at me? Or am I misunderstanding something? I think the plan was always to do... to implement the grass painting this week. This looks pretty good. Let's fix the coloring of the short grass here. And then we can... Like, you can see also, I don't know, there's a line going here. So when we run away from the grass, you can see the popping. So we get a lot of grass straws that are removed. This visual effect is minimized if we color the ground as well. But, like, the popping is still going to be there. And one of the hardest things I've been trying to do lately was to reduce that popping. We have an algorithm we developed an algorithm in mind that should work, but we didn't really get it to work. So previously, when I was referring to an optimization problem we didn't get to work, that's the optimization problem. Although it's not really an optimization problem, it's more making optimization look pretty. Let's see, I think this grass shade, the grass should work on between patches without problems as well. And where do we have a patch? So we should have a patch about here, I think. Yeah. Looks pretty damn good, honestly. Thank you, 6K911. Appreciate it. and thank you for stopping by. What's up, Peach? Appreciate the lurk. Can you terraform? Curious to see how the grass adapts. Yeah, let's terraform this shit. So, terraform. I'm gonna do it in a nice way, so we're gonna do a little... I'm also curious... it should be okay. Should be okay. It might so squared off edges. If we use... I hope it was because of... Let's see here. If we use brush number 1 with a strength of 1 and we do grass, then you get like squares. So this is just a pure white square brush, I think. And that's why we are getting these patches. Smack my peach. I've made sure to only say the last word in your name most of the time, but sometimes it just flies out. I'm sorry to hear. Did they give you a reason? Little Miss Murder, it looks good. Appreciate it. Can suggest you animate it though, so the terraform doesn't just pop into places. I thought we were gonna worry about polish later on, but the idea is basically if we terraform, like if we do terraform, if we do this type of terraform, basically what you're gonna have is you're gonna have the character pick up a bag of dirt, and when we terraform here, he's gonna open the dirt bag and release it on the ground, making the terraform hopefully appear under him, and we're gonna do some magic there. And when it comes to terraforming by removing dirt, we're gonna do it shovel, and we're gonna make it look pretty with some animations, I think. Like, one could also think that you would animate the mesh itself growing or removing. I'm not too sure about that, because that would mean you could do some shader magic. So you could calculate the final mesh and then you can do some shader magic, interpolate between. Or you could actually update the mesh per frame. That would be hella costly though. Apparently a GitHub page is not a proper business website. What? What if you... That's weird. What if you like purchase a domain and redirect to the GitHub page? That's basically how I do my website. I think it should be good enough. Maybe it's the custom domain thing they are worried about. Well, I hope you get it solved so you can get your assets on the asset store. Polishing is what you do, nitpicking is what I do. Okay, I get it. Like I'm 100% open to input. But let's see. So one problem we had was the color of the grass. Like grass that is yeah, so if let's see, where do we have it? Here, where we calculate the fragment color, we do a lerp between the texture color, so that is the blue grid texture, and input color RGB. And then we lerp between those two given terrain data G times input color A. Input color A is currently 0 for ground, 1 for grass, which means that the ground will always be purely texture, and the grass will depend on this one. So if we have a low value here, we still have grass, but we have a low value. This one multiplied by this one will yield a value between 0 and 1, and that's why we get the weird coloring. So one easy thing we could do is seal this shit. Nah, not that one, but this one. So instead of being a value between 0 and 1, it's 1 for grass. It's 1 for anything above 0. 0 otherwise. I think that would solve the issue. This is probably not how we want to solve it eventually. But it's a first step. I mean, the GitHub profile page is not good enough. Oh, okay. That I can get. That I can sorta get behind, I think. But I get, like, I don't know if you've done a lot of things with GitHub pages. It's extremely strong. And just a nice thing to have. So now we don't get bluish grass. That's good. We get a little bit of better patches. That's nice. The next thing I want to do is when we have a lot of grass in a place, like the more grass we have in one position, the more I want to draw a green color instead of the texture color. Make an input key to toggle the grid. Are you talking about the grid on the ground or the visual marker grid? I can probably do that. Currently this grid is just a fake grid, the one on the texture on the ground. It's just a texture that is wrongly scaled, basically. Can probably toggle it in some way. Actually, I want to try one more thing as well. Yeah, we can also remove grass. That's nice. Very pixelated when we remove grass, though. Can actually see the pixels in the underlying data structure. I wonder why that is not the case here, or can we see it? Yeah, we can see it. Okay, that is something I need to take a look at. But actually, I think we can just change it by doing... I think we could solve it by bilinear filtering, but I don't think I want to do that filtering on my height, so we're gonna have to look into that. Just for debugging purposes, right? Sometimes you want it, sometimes not. Like toggle production view, definitely. We could implement it real quick. I just wonder if... we could probably just go gonna do it as a debug show grid, and then we can do it like this. This is probably an ugly way to do it, but terrain data, ground color from texture. Honestly, it looks a little bit weird. Not how I'm used to it. I know why, I think. Then we can do... Damn, this preview, it looks very cool, honestly. Show grid. Don't show grid. But I think we have some color change as well, because this is this how I think so. Yeah, a toggle would honestly be nicer, but I don't know. Yeah, this one looks sick. I think it's the subdivision. So the sphere they use here is pretty... If we go 2, looks a little bit better. If we go 1, it looks pretty good. Like the visual optimizations we have made, so you can see some color changes when we run, they are used with full grass in mind. If we have patchy grass, the ground color looks a little bit weird. But this looks good, I think. But then again, when it gets too patchy, we have some problems. A lot of things to improve upon, but it looks pretty good. Sorry Peach, I missed that. I've done some in the past, it's pretty straightforward, yeah. And you can do it in a lot of different ways. I love it. And I just love to host my websites on GitHub, honestly. Yeah, I remember, so a few years back I released a game on iOS and Google App Store, and I had to wait so long for the App Store approval, and finally I got notified that it had a change in the review process and it got denied. So it was just fix the things and then wait again. Yeah, it sucks. Go to a low density. Let's see. I think we can do. We can actually create them ourselves. So we need to alter the. We definitely need to do some changes here. And you can see this patch changes color depending on how far away you are. Basically what it comes down to is, if we take a look at the visuals here, we want them to replicate. Is it? Let's see. We want them to replicate. That's not entirely correct either, though. I wonder why that is the case. It's a bit too dark. But okay, let's see. Later on, I also want to like feed this one from the environment. Right, that's what we want to do. Like we want to feed debug variables from the environment instead of having to set it per texture. But let's see what we can do. One thing I want to fix first, before I forget it again, is Terraform brush mode. Here we're gonna have a Terraform brush mode, yeah. Max change, public change. I don't know. Increment is probably a better. Increment. Let's wait with it. I want to have a bool vector alters mesh. Alters mesh, and then we jump to terrain patch terraformer. Apply terraform brush blit. We want to rename this one as well, and then we do update terrain data, and we do it out here. Maybe we should just do Do I want to obscure it a bit more? Terraform brush. Probably want to set this one as both get and private set later on. If alters mesh, if alters mesh. Mashed potato enjoyer, thank you for the follow, and I agree. I fucking love potatoes. So this means that our grass change brush returns false here. This one returns false, which means that we won't update the vertex data. That's great, and then I want to change this one as well. Alter terrain height, alter terrain data. Did I rename it correctly? Alter data. We still have this CPU stuff hanging around. I don't think we need it. Not sure if I missed this along the way. Does the grass respond to wind effects, kind of thing? Currently, the only wind information we feed it is like just a very crude simulation of weather. So it's basically just a texture that tells in which direction the wind is blowing and by which and with what strength. And then we just offset bend the grass depending on that texture. So we don't have interaction yet, which I would love. Ooh, that would be so damn cool. Exactly, I'm me. Exactly. Let's see if we can just see how it looks. And now it should be a little bit... We're having a lot of overhead when generating this. Or it takes quite some time, but it's pretty big terrain. Yeah, I think adding grass is like way quicker now. Sure. We can actually check here. Ooh. Ooh. Is that true? That's still insane, honestly. For each update terrain data, Terraform brush alter mesh, oh, actually no, it's not. It's quick as hell. still, updating terrain patch height data takes what is it, 3 milliseconds or 30 milliseconds? I guess most of the time is spent on waiting or transferring the data back from the GPU, but it's okay. Now we also have the proportions texture working, I think. But definitely need to improve this. And yeah, if we take a look at terrain data container, I made very splendid improvements today. Yes, indeed. Fucking insane improvements, honestly. If we take a look at data here, when we instantiate data, we do data new texture 2D width height texture format RGBA 32. We work in linear color space and no MIP count. And then we do this. And I think when it comes to the grass, this option screws us over. What I'm afraid of, however, is that if we change filter mode to bilinear, we might get some problems with the syncing between patches. But honestly, I wonder if it should still be okay. First of all, I want to check if this fixes the grass problem, because if we have a grass patches, you can actually see the pixels of the terrain texture, which is a bit weird. Let's also, when we test stuff, let's go down a bit on, let's go to dimensions, let's change it to 256 and 512 and 3. Should make it a little bit quicker. Yeah, we didn't change the scale, so now we have more hills, but that's okay. And now if we do now we get less of the pixel artifacts we had previously, so it's way smoother. Like, although, one sec, might not have been the smartest move. 256, 512. I just want to see 12, 24, 4. Let's try with the exactly the same setup and see if it still is there. So the artifacts we had is that the terrain data texture is very small in comparison to the world size of the terrain it represents, which is okay when it comes to the height and stuff like that, but when it comes to the grass, we could actually see the individual pixels, which I would say is not good. Nah, it's still much better. So this is bilinear. So the question now is, what happens to the terraforming? Looks pretty good, but do you really want the grid to color the grass? Oh, you mean this grid? Honestly, I like it, but you might be correct. It might look way better if it did not. Oh, fuck. But the marker shader, initially implemented mostly to help debugging, but I'm starting to like it. We'll see what we do about this. It's kind of distracting, yeah, maybe a lot of aliasing as well. But basically what it does is, I want to show this, 256, 512. A little bit worried about the size this one still takes. We have a lot of textures. Okay, so what this grid shader basically does is we place a sphere here, and then when we render this sphere, we do a lot of depth checks. So, like we get pixels on the sphere. We check if they are we get screen positions of the sphere, and then we look up the depth texture. And then we do some mathematics with the depth texture value to convert it into a world space coordinate. And if that world coordinate is within the sphere, then we do some extra math to draw a grid. So just like the grass straws, they actually, let's see. Where do we have it? Copy depth. It might be hard to see during the stream, I don't know. But the grass straws, they actually render, or they actually write to the depth texture, which means that when we calculate the grid, they are included. So I'm a little bit uncertain if there exists a nice quick way to just disable them from the shader. If we fed the marker data about the terrain, then we could do it, but that's not how we currently implement it. I'm not sure if it would improve shader performance actually. Like we do depth samples and depth checks for each pixel on the sphere. Scafer is the character a 3D model or some kind of shader magic approximation? It's a 3D model. It is. But then there's some shader magic to make you question it. The grass shader doesn't know anything about this grid marker, and the grid marker actually doesn't know anything about the grass. All it does is some math magic using the depth texture. What we could do, however, is... maybe not. It would probably look very cool if it didn't write on the grass. Mr. 1CE, something I noticed is the grass is not pointed upwards on slopes, especially visible on steep slopes. Yeah, the grass grows outwards based on the normal of the underlying geometry. So if we take a look at, on slopes, if we do worst case scenario, we have a slope like this. You can see that the grass grows like this. And that's currently by design. I don't know how... Wouldn't it? It would probably grow like this in real life as well, I would say. And here we do some aggressive culling. That's why we get this issue here. It's past blend or something. Like, honestly, I'm quite happy with how this marker turned out. So it's basically just a sphere object that is rendered in the transparent render queue. So after all opaque objects in the scene has rendered, both to output color and depth map, that's when we render this sphere. Oh, will grass actually bend upwards? Okay. But when it comes to slopes like this, like we noticed it instantly when we mixed the procedural grass and the terrain shader. Slopes like this with grass on them won't be supported. Like if you have a slope as steep as this, I don't even know if we're gonna allow for that, but then we're gonna force some kind of material on it. So it's probably gonna be hard dirt. We can actually make the grass look like it's growing out. Look at this. That's pretty cool. Wow. Photosynthesis will attract the blades in the real world and gravity. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to simulate both of those things. Mister, I think the grass should point more to the light. Yeah, depends also on the length of the grass. Yeah, that's definitely true. So, I mean, yeah, like this would be implementable. The question is, Will it be worth it? Yeah, probably outside the scope. Very cool. The most sophisticated grass physics for a Pokemon game. Yep. Yeah, but like when I hear it, yes, I want to implement it, but like even I has to like say no sometimes if we're ever going to finish this. It's extremely quick. I love it. I just have a problem with the white grid coloring the grass. Let me sleep on that problem. I might come up with a quick solution we can try this week. I agree, like this, in this case, I think it would look way nicer if we didn't get the noise, basically. If we just do it on the ground, we will get way less noise. If you want to keep it that way, blend the color out by height. Yeah, if we want to do that, we need to know the height from where we draw the grid to the actual terrain. Don't know if we have that currently. Like, we need to know the height. Since the terrain varies in height, we need to know the height. Yeah. If we would have a plane, if the terrain was just a plane, then we could easily do it that way, I think. Now the orientation is based on the surface normal, I guess. Can't you just align it on the y-axis? Yes, we could do that, mister. Definitely. But that would mean, like, depending on how we implement it, we would get I think we could do it really easy, actually. We could include bend as well. Yeah. If you have the Y position of the terrain in the shader. We can check tomorrow what information and stuff we have to fix the grid. I'm sure we can come up with something nice. But unfortunately, I gotta run now. I'm not feeling very well, and I have some other more boring stuff to take care of. Mister, I appreciate it. All ideas are welcome, always. So yeah, just to summarize today, like, great progress, honestly. And even though there exists a lot of improvements to do, it's still in an acceptable state currently. Like, it's acceptable. But I will continue this tomorrow, because now I have to run. Appreciate you all watching, and yeah, thank you for all input, and have a great rest of the day. Peace.